Good morning, everyone. My name is Katie Oelschlager, and I'm one of the program specialists with the SAIL program. This afternoon, I'm going to do a quick tutorial on the employer role for personal choices. The most important responsibility of the employer is that they have to attest to all claims entered in the Authenticare system. And when I talk about claims, I mean the daily clocking in and out of their worker. Now, there are several ways that you guys can attest to these claims. The first, and in my mind the easiest, is if you can be at home when the worker is ready to check out for the day, you can attest to that claim right then and it's done. You don't have to worry about it. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that on the app, the Authenticare 2.0 app. All right, I'm logging in as a worker, and I'm going to do a new check-in. Selecting the service. Okay, so I am checked in for the day. When the worker is ready to clock out, they have to log back into the app, and they're going to see that they have a claim that's pending checkout. Now, they can check out one of two ways. If you'll look at the bottom of the screen, they have the option to skip attestation or to continue to employer attestation. If you are not available, the employer, they can do skip attestation, and you can go back at a later time to attest that claim. But if you happen to be there when they check out, you can go ahead and hit continue to employer attestation. And you will see that it says that the checkout has been recorded but not completed. So we want to hit continue. And then the employer confirmation page will pop up. And what you want to do when you get to this page is look at the client name, make sure it's correct. The service is correct. It should always say SAIL Personal Choices, and that the clock in and clock out time is correct. If you approve, you will check both of the circles and then hit continue. Once you do that, this will show up. And you either have to sign your name in full if you're able. If you're not able, you can just make a mark. So for purposes of this training, I'm just going to make an X and then click done. And as you can see, it says, thank you, your attestation for this checkout has been recorded. You continue and you get a success. And you are done. That claim is done. You've attested to it. The worker has checked in and out. You've attested that it's correct. And that claim will now be sent on to Morning Sun for billing. If you are not available when the worker checks out at your home, the other options are to go to the actual Authenticare webpage. So I am going to have to share my screen with you guys. And I am going to log in as an employer. And once you log in as an employer, this is the screen that should pop up. To attest or to find claims, the easiest way is to select a date range. Now, it can't be more than 30 days. So for purposes of this training, I'm just going to go from the 1st to the 19th, and I'm going to see what claims are in the system. So these are all the claims for that date range for my worker, or for my client, Francis Faye. Now, what you're looking for over here under status is anything that says claim needs attestation. Now, I'm going to tell you here that you have 30 days to approve a claim from the date of service. However, I would encourage you that if you can't do it right then when the worker checks out, that you do it as often as possible, because this ensures that the correct claims go on the correct billing. The worker will always get paid for the claim after you attest to it, but if you wait 30 days to attest to a claim that was done today, the worker's not going to get paid for today's service for another paycheck or two. So you want to stay on top of this as much as possible. So what you're looking for here is anything that says claim needs attestation. So we're going to come over here. These are hyperlinks. The rest of these have already been, they have issues or they've been attested to. You only want to worry about the ones that say claim needs attestation. So we're going to click on this one. And as the employer, you're going to make sure that the client, the worker, the service, which once again should be sale personal choices, is all correct, along with the date of service and the check-in time and the checkout time. If everything looks correct, you're going to do review complete and then type a little note here that says the information has been verified and approved by the employer. You always have to put something in this note box. So you make your own little note here, just a general statement saying that you approve all this information. You checked your box, you click save. And it should say successfully saved claim ID and give that number and you'll see this. Don't worry about this where it says billing has not been confirmed. That'll happen automatically. You don't have to do, your job here is done with this claim. So you're just going to click done. And it takes you back to the home screen. So once again, you're looking for anything on this page that says claim needs attestation. Now, if you see like a pending checkout or pending check-in because maybe your worker forgot to check out, let's look at that one. See, there's a check-in time but no checkout time. You will have to contact Morning Sun because at this point, they're the only ones that can fix claims. So you will have to contact Morning Sun and tell them the date and the correct checkout time and they'll fix it. Once they've fixed it, then you will have to come back and attest to this claim just like I showed you by checking this, making a note, and clicking save. Now, while I have you guys on into the Authenticare test website, there's a couple other things I want to show you. One, as the employer, if you just hit go under search, it'll pull up you and your client. And if you want to look up your information or your ID, because employers have IDs too, you can see it right here. And if you click on it, it'll pull up all of the employer's information along with the client and the worker. You want to see information about Miss Frances Fay. You can pull up the client's information as well. If you ever need the client number, it'll be listed right up here for you. And if you ever need the worker ID, it'll be right here for you as well on this page. One last thing you can do as the employer when you're logged into the Authenticare website is you can pull a time and attendance report. That's the only report you have access to, so I'm going to show you what to do. You're going to click on time and attendance. I like to see all claims, so I always click all claims, and then you get to select a date range. You can do a fixed date range, current day, current week, current month. So I'm going to do current month. You can only do a 30-day range, or you'll have to pull more than one report. So we're going to do current month. And we're going to look and see what this worker has done for the past month by putting the worker ID right there and hitting search. We're going to select the only service you're concerned about. You have to scroll down. which is sell personal choices. And I like to see if there are any exceptions. I'll give you a quick tutorial on exceptions. There are two kinds. There's informational exceptions, which they don't stop billing. You can still attest those claims and send them on to Morning Sun so your worker can be paid. Informational exceptions are basically just an indicator that something could potentially be wrong and you may have to look into it. The most common informational exceptions would be that the worker didn't use your main phone number to clock in and out if they choose to clock in and out by phone. Or maybe the worker doesn't clock in and out at your home. And that would also raise a red flag. Just to let you know, there could be an issue, but if not, you just attest to the claim and it'll still process for billing. Now, if you get a critical exception, that does stop the process. And that is something that you'd have to contact your case manager or Morning Sun about to be fixed. A critical exception would be that there was no check-in time, no check-out time. Somehow the worker checked in and out incorrectly and said they were at your house and at someone else's house at the same time. There's some different scenarios that might cause that, and it would just have to be corrected before it could be processed for billing. So once you've made your selections, we're going to sort by service date and click Run Report. Now, I've already ran this report several times, so I'm just going to open up one that's already been done. Make this bigger for you. And as you can see, this report will show you the client ID, the client name, the date of service. This code just is for sell personal choices. The worker name, worker ID, check-in, check-out time. It'll also give you a code for exceptions. So I am going to show you where you can find what these codes mean. So you can see if it's an informational exception or a critical exception. So this report gives you some good information. So let's click out of that, go to the home screen, and we're going to come up here to custom links and click on the Authenticare user manual. It's going to take it a few minutes or a few seconds to open because it's a very big document. But I believe the exception information starts on page 228 of this document. And here we go. So let's start. If you go to page 228, you will be able to find the critical exceptions, all of their codes, and what the codes mean. So that this will enable you, if you see one and that you think there's a problem, when you call your case manager or Morning Sun, you can say, I had a C1 critical exception, which means for some reason the computer system did not automatically confirm this claim for billing, and let them know what needs to be fixed. If you keep scrolling down, you'll see on page 230 that you now can see the informational exceptions. You see their codes and their definitions. And you can see that some of these mean that, you know, they used an unauthorized phone number to check out. So it wasn't your main phone number on file, it was some other phone number, which is fine. It's just letting you know that in case there's a problem. Same with location mismatch. You know, maybe they took you on an errand or something and it was time for them to check out. That's fine. They can check out at a different location, but it's going to give you an informational exception just to alert you that the possibility there could be a problem. So I wanted to show you that. All right, so we're going to stop sharing for a minute. I'm going to come over here. I've got one more. I'm going to go ahead and open it up first. Where I have one more option for you. So if you're not available when the worker checks out and you can't use the app to attest the claim, and then maybe you're not comfortable using the web, or you don't have great internet, so you don't want to use the web, there's one more option you can do to attest a claim. So I'm going to share my screen again. And it is the IVR option. And the IVR option basically just means that you use your landline or your cell phone to attest these claims. And you will do that by calling this 1-800 number that you can find in your employer quick reference guide. I'm not going to go through all this because it's just prompts. Once you call this number, you need to make sure that you have the client ID, your employer ID, and your worker ID available, because the prompts are going to ask you for that information. And you just follow through. And it'll ask you different questions, such as if you're the employer, press 2, enter your employer ID, keep going, and then it'll ask you what time period you're trying to review, if it's for the current week, the previous week, or another week. And you just enter that, and as you go, it'll ask you about each claim. If it's correct, you'll press 1, if not, press 2. So it's a little more tedious, but you do have this option if you don't want to use one of the other two. So at this point, I'm going to stop my screen share. So those are the 3 options to attest a claim, which, like I said, attestation is basically you just signing off on a claim saying that the worker checked in and checked out on the correct date at the correct times. You attested to this either by the app, the Authenticare website, or the IVR option. And so now the claim can automatically, the system, once you attest, the system will automatically confirm it and send it on to Morning Sun for billing. Again, you have 30 days to attest to a claim once, and that's 30 days from the date of service. So the worker provided service today. You have 30 days from today to attest that claim. However, keep in mind that if you wait that long, today's claim will not be on the worker's next paycheck. It may be on the next one or the next one. So it's best to get in the habit of attesting them as often as possible if you're trying to keep that worker getting paid, as accurately and as quickly as possible. Now you have a resource guide. You should have that. If you don't, contact your case manager that will go through this. You can also contact your case manager with questions. Those are your first 2 stops. Then Morning Sun. Then if they still can't help you, you're welcome to call me. My phone number is 334-293-7051. And we're all going to be going through this process together. So please, please contact us with questions or concerns, and we will walk you through it, because we want this to be as easy and as accurate as possible to eliminate any confusion and make sure those workers get paid on time. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much. And once again, contact us with any questions or concerns.